Hey everyone, Dennis Kaye here with Belize Islands Real Estate coming to you live today. Just want to tell you a little bit about this next video that I'm posting. It is an interview with a dear client and friend of mine named Rob Chodowski. Him and his wife have been living in Belize part-time for several years. They absolutely love the island of Ambergris Caye. And in part one of the video that I released yesterday, I asked him several questions about the coronavirus because him and his wife Riki are there right now on Ambergris Caye. They can't leave the island. Nobody can come, nobody can leave because it's on strict lockdown. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and watch part one, which I released yesterday on my YouTube channel. This video today is more going to be interesting if you're looking to invest in Belize or looking to own property, a vacation home or retirement home there, because I asked Rob several questions about how he found the country of Belize, why he decided that it was best for him and his wife to own property there, and his own personal experiences enjoying time on that beautiful island. So enjoy the video. Interested in seeing your comments below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hope you're doing well and staying safe wherever you are. Cheers. But maybe just tell us why, or not so much why, maybe why and how you chose Belize. I mean, because I think
Well,
from dealing with so many different clients, everyone has a different reason they end up in Belize. Like you guys, some view it as a part-time move, for a part-time of the year. Some are permanent. Some just
that,
use it a couple weeks a year. So I think it's interesting to know how you ended up there and how you use your place.
well, as we told you before, this was we were on a cruise, another one of our a princess cruise out of the Galveston, and we've always had an affinity for the Caribbean. We've gone to many of the islands in the past, but not this portion of it. So the western end of it, near Central America. So we took the one that hit Roatan. This was the New Year's Eve cruise, which was a lot of fun. Roatan, Belize, and Cozumel, and Riki, being an empath and among other things, just had the other islands didn't impress her. She wasn't really interested in them. In fact, couldn't wait to get off of them, even though I enjoyed myself. But when we came to Belize, and she just had this welcoming feeling, whatever. And really, it told me if there's any time that we consider having a second home, we might check out Belize, because I really liked it there. And it met all our, after doing a year and a half of research on this, as well as a number of YouTube and Belize and HGTV videos of you, among others. We started really getting serious, and I started getting serious with Ambergris Caye, and did as much research as I possibly could without actually parking myself down here and spending amount of time. And that's where I started making goals and plans for this. And everything fell into place. It met all of our criteria, which had to do with utilization of the U.S. dollar. And in case here, the U.S. dollar is worth 2 to 1 to the Belizean dollar. So, everything was a lot cheaper for us from that standpoint. Although we knew that Ambergris Caye, from my research, was going to be substantially more expensive than the mainland. And most people that come here are really into the water sports, such as scuba diving. And even though I've done that, I've been off and on since 1969. So I've been to Queensland, to the Great Barrier Reef. But it's not my obsession here. That was secondary. The other was food. The Mennonites pretty much do most of the farming and ranching here, and very little GMOs are allowed in. And even though foods don't look beautiful like they do in their state in the supermarkets, here they're on stands. They taste 1,000% better than the fake stuff we get back home.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's a lot healthier. It also meant another major one is I'm not that great at trying to learn other languages. And although I can, pick up a little here and there. English is my language to a certain degree from what other, you can interpret what I'm saying. And so that was a plus. This was, it's the official language only because of Britain and being a British colony. So even though there are dozens of different dialects here competing and cultures, then they still at least know English. And things are published in English along with Spanish and other languages. The other thing were the people. That was important. And the government had to be a stable government and met that criteria. Yeah, it's a third, not quite a third, it's emerging. I call it emerging country. It's not really third world. You could go to certain areas of the South in the US and you're seeing third world conditions. Those conditions are not, you don't see as much of that here, even though I think 40% of the country is really in poverty. But they have electricity, they have a floor, because they're not sleeping on the ground. It's, let's say, a little upper scale than the third world. The people are friendliest, and there are how many different, half a dozen different cultures here or more, and they all blend together. They continue with their culture, but they integrate it all in together, and there is no race wars.
That's important.
As you would have, in the States. So that those were some of our main issues, and met all of our criteria. Well, when the time is right, financially, or if we get the, something we're looking for, I'll buy something. And the only reason why is we had paid off all our debts, so we're debt free. Still have a business, and I grew up with ownership. Under the thing, ownership is better than just not having anything. Mm-hmm. And with ownership, I found that I'm committed to that. We're committed to going there. If I just rented, we're just rent for the season, I may not be back next year, be someplace else. And I wanted to experience this. And we put together, and we do a lot of planning, goal setting, and that every year. And when we included this into it, we gave it a 10-year plan. Nothing else, at least 5 years at Belizean Shores, which we did. And we do and we've got, we're in our second year here. So we got about 3 more years, and then we'll probably move on, because we're 70s. And Riki wants to get another pet and another dog, and that will restrict our movements. And, we still haven't done what my parents used to do, that motorhome, spend 3 months traveling throughout the United States.
Ah, nice.
There's plenty to see there. So
nice.
Travel. So that's how that came about, and we've been overjoyed with the experience. There's been disappointments along the way, but and also it's offset by all the pluses, the positive. So. And so yeah, that's how we got here.
Awesome. So you got about a 10-year plan in Belize before, and I think it's important for for people to know. Can you hear this? That ringing? Can you hear it? Someone's calling me. Can you hear it? Okay, good. I think it's important for people to know that it's not all or nothing when it comes to Belize. It's not like once you have something, then you have it forever. Because I've seen lots of people come down who planned on retiring there full time, and then something happened. Their kids had grandkids. Now they wanted to go back. They just go back. I mean, it doesn't have to be a permanent decision when they come down and buy something or invest in Belize. It can be floating. Like you said, you can have goals and do it for 5 years or 10 years or whatever, and then do something else. I mean, that's the same with Steph and I. We were there full time for, I think, 13 years, and now with our back and forth, we can't be there full time anymore. But hey, I mean, you can't replace those 13 years we had.
No, this is absolutely. And now that I'm officially, retired, I'm still a little semi-retired because I still help out my son in business. But pretty much as of last year or 2 years ago, after my bout with kidney stone and sepsis, and nearly killed me,
Mm.
Riki pushed me into deciding it's time to retire. We've got our income lined up, our investments and so forth, and where the money is, and we can afford to do it. So let's start taking advantage of it. And so and people forget, there, besides Ambergris Caye and other islands, there's also a mainland that is rich with everything else that we really enjoy, even more so than fishing or diving. The cultural benefits of being on different areas to go to, recreation, things that you are all in this tiny little nation. Helling, hiking, camping, just other water activities like canoeing and cave tubing and exploring caves, some of the biggest caves in the world. The ruins. It's just a melting pot of everything here. So we want to spend more time on the mainland. That's where it was our objective this year. But Riki broke her ankle, so that's still hobbled. She still can't go much more than a couple hundred yards before having to sit down or rest it. But it's only been a week since she had her boot and cast taken off, so it'll be a while. That happened, and then of course now we're quarantined, so we're not going to do it this year. We'll probably have to wait till next year.
Right.
Our plans would spend as much as 6 months down here at a time, and then go back to the gem that we live in, Tulsa, the forest and the Columbia River Gorge in Washington, Oregon. So
yeah, you do got the best of both worlds.
and I post pictures of that. You've seen probably the one I did today of this guy, Clifford Aquino, I think is a master photographer in the area and does phenomenal photography of the gorge. And so had one photo today that just blew me away. So
I'll have to check it out. You posted on your Facebook feed?
Yeah, it's on the Facebook.
All right, I'll check it out.
Anyway, that's pretty much a little background on the history of how we got.
How much longer do you plan on being there? Like, say this thing passes through, do you have plans to go back for the summer to your U.S.?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. And we were planning on going back March 25th, and coming back on April 9th, but of course that's not going to happen. So instead of that, when they allow, probably in May, once they start allowing us to have flights in and out of the island, and besides that, flights from Houston, because that's our stopping off point.
Mm-hmm.
We have no way, they have some emergency flights that they're allowing periodic once a week or something. United come down and people can leave the island, not the island. They'll leave Belize City on it, but you get dumped off in Houston, and there's no connecting flights.
Oh, right, sure.
You're stuck in Houston.
Then what do you do? I never thought about that. Yeah, so they can get you back to the U.S., but then what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all at our own expense.
Right.
Everything else. So we're going to stay here till we can get a flight conveniently out of Houston to PDX, Portland. That's when we fly into Oregon. And but our intent was to spend as much as 6 months out of the year down here, and then 6 months in some of the best weather that the Pacific Northwest has, the southern Southwest Washington, and just couldn't handle the winters. As it turns out, this is the warmest winter in history for our area, and we usually are buried, even though we're only 900 feet. We're in between Mount Hood and Mount St. Helens and Mount Adams, and right at the base of the Cascade Mountain Range. So we're in a forest and canyon across the Wind River, so it gets colder there than the surrounding areas in the winter, and it gets warmer during the summer. And so it's not that far away from the river, it's just the Columbia River, but that's just a unique little area. And if it's snowing down at 2,500 feet, even down at 900 feet, we're going to get the snow. And every year we'd be getting as much as 5 feet of snow.
Hmm. 5 feet. Wow.
Yeah, all scheduled, all over maybe a period of 3 months.
Sure.
Nothing this year.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a couple inches. That's it. And
Oh,
still,
there's no snow in Belize.
cold on my joints.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I don't. But the weather, it's supposed to be in the 60s tomorrow.
My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been typically 40s to 50s. It drops down a little cool in the evenings. We have, we through the Fire Stick, and so we can keep in touch with our TV and local stations, and then we watch in Portland or out of Portland, and so we know what's happening there on a daily basis when we log on to the news.
Oh,
so
good.
We're not isolated here, communication-wise.
Yeah, you're still connected to the world, which
connected.
is
So you can do your, people do their day trading down here, and that's what they like doing. And they spend half the day doing that, and then out on the water.
Yeah.
Or drinking or partying.
Oh, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Well, hey, Rob, thanks so much, man. I hope you guys, I was planning a trip down too, but right now it's up in the air. I don't know when it'll be, but I was looking at April. There was a training in April that I wanted to go to in Miami. Of course, that's canceled now. I was going to do Miami and Belize. So I'm just going to wait till all this passes through, and then I'll book a trip back. But if you guys are there, we'll have to meet up at the Blue Water Grill. And
yeah, they're closed down now.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. It was sad. They've never been closed, as far as I can remember. So,
just in a little nutshell, because you did ask me to briefly touch on diversification investing.
Yeah, if you're open to that, sure.
Yeah. Well, let's see. In my former life, I was when I was younger. Before we moved up to the Pacific Northwest, I had my insurance agency and dealt with a lot of, also in the life and health business as a sideline. Did a lot of, retirement planning for people and so forth, and certified insurance consultant. And, most of the time people like that don't take their own advice, and I really didn't. But I was exposed to real estate investing at a very young age there. And because of my involvement with the Apartment Association of Orange County, my dad had apartment units in Riverside. We ended up buying a six plex from a customer back in the early '80s, and then when we moved, we sold that and did a 1031 exchange, and on about 7 houses, and had our own estate as well. We did very well. During that time, we whittled that down. We had to use some of the houses to pay off other debts, so I could become debt free. But the whole thing was, I learned along the way, was diversification. And when I got up here, we were really heavy. Pretty much 99% of our investments was in real estate. And that's a volatile market too. Not everything goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt the need to diversify in a sense of putting, and what spurred that along was the recession. If it wasn't for the recession, I probably would have stayed more heavy in real estate, but in rental properties. But we had started moving some of those funds into a 401k, and when the market hit, now the stock market went down 50% for everybody else, and we waited till it built itself back up, and then we started rolling over those funds into annuities. And as we sell a house, we pay off another house, and use part of that to live off, because we weren't selling anything out of our Cedar Designs business. No one was building at that time, so we were dead in the water for about 3 years. We had to use something else for our livelihood, and so I started rolling these things into high-end annuities through what's called now a beam. It doesn't make a difference what company it is, as long as they're reliable and they're insured. And so I was getting 10% bonus and guaranteed if I use the income rider, a 7% compounded daily interest rate, or monthly, 7% interest. And if I took when at withdrawal after age 65, I could get as much as 5.5%. I didn't want to go into that stash. I didn't want it. None of my things. I didn't want to pull principal out. I just wanted to live off of interest. So I planned to do that retirement that way. I get 5.5%. Some are paying now 6 and 7%, but 5.5% guaranteed interest for life offer. Something that source that accounts for about 45% of our total income.
Oh, very nice. So you had your business, your Cedar Homes business, and then you had some rental income from rental properties,
right?
And then you had the annuities.
Yeah.
And the reason
and then we had
ahead.
Social Security. I had to take it early because at 62 I didn't have. That's the recession hit. And I needed a draw.
Sure.
So we have Social Security, and we have the rentals. I have the annuities. When this year was going to be a very profitable year, we were going to have income from Belize shores, and so that's of course not going to happen. Of course, what they do have is paying for some of our expenses now. And what else? We had some of the business, and so we were pretty well healed in a roundabout way. And what we have is for our retirement income, and a lot of this came about. My kids are doing the same thing because they saw us every year ever since I've been in college, out of college since 1969. We've been doing goal setting. Writing our goals down, putting it that's in a prominent place, even if sometimes it pastes it to a mirror, whatever.
Yeah.
Just so we see it regularly. This is our bucket list for the year. That's where we want to be. A 1-year plan, maybe a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, something in that area. And well, at the end of the year, we reevaluate, and then some of it we get done, others we wouldn't. But that's how it kept us on track. Focus, because there are so many different things that take you off focus the year, and so sometimes you have to go with those other roads, but with the ultimate goal of getting back into your goal setting avenue, and that was part of how we got to this place. But
no, I think the reason
it's comfortable. I have money in the market too. That's another source. We're using, but the money now is down to almost 50% less, about 30-40% less, all in income funds. So they didn't take the hit as much, but they do provide me if they're paying dividends and things. If I need another 10 or 15,000, I can draw off of that and not draw off the principal, just take it off the dividend. So I've got about 5 different sources of avenues that fund our retirement and our bucket list. So, and now we're both of us, Riki and I, are in our 70s, and we want to live our next 30 years at least.
Absolutely.
Active, and so this is part of it.
No, that's good, Rob. The reason that interesting with the coronavirus, I've been following this, how many people filed for unemployment last week in the States, how many people lost their jobs, and maybe no fault of their own, but just didn't have any savings or weren't able to build up any savings and don't have any source of income, any other sources of income. And, I'm sort of like, I'm not as diversified as you, but I have property in Belize, I have mortgages, I have savings, I have other income. And I think it's a wake-up call for a lot of people that don't rely on just one source of income, even if it's a great job, even if you're making really good money from that one job. What happens if it goes away? The need to have some cushion somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was interesting when you wrote me that, how diversified you were. I'm like, wow, I thought you might have just had your business in Belize. I didn't realize you had all these other things set up as well. So that's really good.
Yeah, it just evolved that way because first, my investment education really came from the apartment association. All those engineers that spent their time in the 70s and 80s buying apartments and properties down at Huntington Beach in Orange County. And what happened with I watched them as they, the house that we sold, we should have held on to $35,000, something like that for, maybe less than that. That was our second house, 37,000. They double every other couple of years. That's not going to happen in places like Belize unless you're like over on Secret Beach side and it's starting to get developed and you happen to have a $35,000 piece of property. We had the opportunity when we first met you to buy a strip of property, which is now Secret Beach, for about $60,000 over there.
Yeah, I remember.
And now it's 160 to 200,000. But they didn't fit into our plans. And you got to go with what you like. I like the trade winds coming in here, just to see the wind. It's open. We don't have to worry this time of day for mosquitoes. Right on the water. I enjoy that, and the sunrise. The sunsets are not that far away. You just go across the road. It is, and I can see the sunset. But that set me up to invest in rental property. But once I got up here, up at the Pacific Northwest, and then changed locations and so forth, started a new company, and stepped back and looking at the whole scheme of things, I needed, and I was told my dad told me, you really need to diversify. So I started throwing some money in the market. But still, real estate was my primary thing, and that's really what got us into being able to throw all that money into annuities and also pay off debts. You don't know how liberating it is when you have no debt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have no debt. At the end of the month, we have a debt of paying off the credit cards, which gives us mileage.
There you go. Pays for your trips.
But that's about it. And we follow this throughout the course. About every month or two, I'll reevaluate our budgeting. You got to have a budget.
Mm-hmm. Just
wing it. Well, we find out where our money's going into. Every year, we always come into the year with great expectations. And there's always something that fouls it up. And those resources that help us out when there's something unexpected that happens that costs a lot of money. So budgeting, goal setting, diversification, all has led us to this place right now.
Awesome.
But not everybody has the same opportunities we had, or follow the same track. Location, also even in the Midwest, you may not have the amount of income as you would maybe, depending on who you're working for, as you would in the border states, because their property values are a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all the trade comes into.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Trading posts and ports. And so you have all this industry and companies there. And so location, where you reside, may have a big influence on your the amount that you can do. But you can scale. Everybody can look for avenues that they feel comfortable with to increase their extra income rate, and increase their $400 savings that the average person has in their bank account.
Right.
Increase that to a more realistic, like 3 months to a 6 months type of savings.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now they just spent half of that $400 on toilet paper.
Yeah, but they're selling it online.
Oh.
Yeah. Trading for booze.
Well, that's all I had, Rob. Thank you guys so much, man. And And I'll let you know when I plan my next trip down. Hopefully it
Okay.
coincides with you guys being there. So Steph and I love to be with you guys.
Oh yeah, you have to really to meet her.
Yeah.
It's always been, you know, photos and things like that.
Yeah.
We sent the videos we saw her on, but actually we really haven't.
Yeah, that's right. Because she wasn't there last time we had lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully next time all four of us will get together.
Okay.
All right. Well, you guys take care. I'm going to log off here.
Yep.
And yes, I say hi to Riki. I know she can hear me, but hi, Riki. And we'll just we'll catch up soon.
I have this low. She's sitting right in front of me, but she cannot hear anything. Her ears are shot, and I can say anything I want right now. She can't hear a word.
Oh.
I'm not getting any reaction out of her. So.
There you go. All right, man. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.